Hey guys, it's me, Anais. So today I'm going to be doing It's a Writer's Life for Me tag. Oh goodness, you're gonna find out some stuff. Some serious stuff. I'm gonna have to fortify myself with some drink. So let's get to it. What kind of writer are you? Well, I write music and I write short stories, I write novels, I have written poetry, so I'm a mixed bag. I'm currently working on a fantasy short story, which is very exciting. I just finished one called Layla that I really loved. So stuff. When did you start writing? It's the next question. I started writing pretty much right away, right when I figured out how to write, and I was fairly lucky in that I don't remember learning how to read, and I don't remember learning how to write. I learned pretty quickly, and once I figured that out, I started writing stuff down. What made you want to try it? Let's see. I have a big imagination. And I like to see my imaginations come to life. What inspires your stories? Let's see. So one of my big inspirations is my brain. So obviously, my brain. I dream very vividly. And so I'll have a notebook right by my bed. And if I dream something that I really like or that's very interesting to me, I write it down. Some things I don't have to write down and I can remember them for years. Different dreams that I've had. Some are very strange, but dreams a lot of times, yeah. Of course I get inspired by other things too, music and art and everything like that, but most of my stories come from my dreams. What themes do you like to explore in your writing? So, I like to explore consequences of actions. So, not really, I like to break down that whole myth of good versus evil because I don't like it. Oh God. I like to have gray area everything, and I like to have characters do things that sometimes are questionable and then see what happens. Basically, just the consequences of your actions and how they can ripple out on everything else. Are you a pantser or a plotter or a bit of both? So I used to definitely be a pantser. I would just stream of consciousness, write everything down. I didn't edit anything, and I thought that I was doing a really good job. And I think some people can do that and do a good job, but not me necessarily. So what changed is that I started studying opera. Just to learn how to breathe properly took a year so that I could fill up my lungs, and that process of forcing myself to learn how to slow down, and each phrase of music has to be treated separately so that it becomes transformed into what it needs to be. It really helped my writing because I stopped and I started thinking about the sentence instead of, this huge page that I'd written and just being happy that I had a page. No, I started looking at, how does this sentence affect this sentence? And I think that it made my writing a lot better. Being patient is okay and a good thing. I often think about Leonard Cohen because there's a culture of youth doing the best, most interesting work, which I don't think is necessarily true. Like Leonard Cohen, for example, he wrote Hallelujah, and he wrote 80 verses, and it came down to just 4 when it got released, and he edited all those out. But it took a long time, right? Years. He struggled with that song for years, and I think he was about 50 when that song was released, and nobody much cared when it was released, which is another valuable thing to know about writing. And sometimes it's not going to immediately catch fire with people, but that song did, and now everybody knows Hallelujah, and it's been covered by so many people. It's such a beautiful, amazing song, and it wouldn't have been as amazing if he would have just gone with the first thing that came out of him. You know, he wrote 80 verses and he edited so much, and I think that's really valuable for a lot of people, myself included. So that is how I became a plotter, and now I do it and I love it, and I'm very grateful to have learned how, and to just calm myself down and be thoughtful and do the work, you know, learn the fundamentals and be patient. Where are you at in your journey? Agented, published? I do not have an agent. I am very open-minded, so maybe one day. I'm not opposed to it. I am published, and I plan on publishing more. Have you ever entered any writing contest? Finaled? Won? I don't really enter writing contests. I don't have extra money to just throw out at a bunch of writing fees, you know, reading fees, I should say, for people to read my work and then decide if it's worthy or not. And the other thing is that, at least at this point, I don't have a lot of interest in writing contests, so it hasn't broken my heart that that is the case either. Who are your writing heroes? Oh gosh, there are so many writers that I absolutely love for so many reasons. Of course, my favorite book of all time is The Little Prince. I love that book. And then there is Baudelaire. I love Baudelaire. That poetry is amazing. Francesca Lia Bloch, I have read her books for years and I'm always happy. She's a very different writer, I think, than me. I tend to be a bit more sparse, and she has these beautiful, beautiful just words everywhere describing everything in lush detail, and I really appreciate that she's able to do that and make it work. I'm just, you know, I'm very much not like that, but I love how she writes. Jane Ann Krentz, she is a romance suspense novelist, and I think that what she does is incredible. She puts out books, you know, she's able to really keep them going, and she's been able to go from being a librarian to a best-selling author, and I think that it's fabulous. Yeah. And then my other heroes really are the people, all the writers who are not privileged enough to just be able to sit there and write, but the people who have to juggle their jobs, their children, their spouses, family obligations, and still have the passion and the drive to put out work. That takes so much just strength and dedication. It takes a lot of dedication to do that, and so I'm very impressed by anybody, regardless of if I even read in that genre. I'm just impressed by them as writers to be able to do that. It's very impressive. Have you been to a writing conference? Yes, I have been to one writing conference. I went to see Francesca Lia Bloch. She was promoting one of her books, and I very much enjoyed watching her speak. I walked around to a lot of booths, and that's it. I didn't make a lot of contacts, but I think that, you know, that was my first time around, so maybe we'll see what happens. What are the top 3 tips that you'd give to newbie writers? Alright, so the first one is going to be simple. It's going to be to write. If you want to be a writer, write. And don't worry if you look at it and it's not as good as whoever. Don't worry about that, because no matter what it is, there's somebody better at something than everything in life. There's somebody better. Doesn't matter. That is so insignificant. So just get it out there, right? And you can worry about editing and working on that later, you know, just keep writing. Write. The next thing that I would say is read. Read a lot. If you want to put out a certain genre, read in the genre that you want to publish in. See what the publishers are looking for. Even if you plan to do independent publishing, it helps to see what's selling, what's not selling, and what works, what doesn't work, what you think. And sometimes you're not going to agree with the critics, and that's fine, but just make sure that you can stand by your work if that's the case, and be okay if it doesn't sell as well as, you know, as the other books that have been proven to do well. So there's that piece as well. You just have to be okay with that. The third thing is, not everybody is going to like your work. I'm sorry, you can be amazing. Let's just say that no one is better than you. You are the best writer that is in existence. And somebody out there is going to look at your work and go, they're not going to like it. And that's okay. You're not for everybody. There are so many people on the planet. Don't worry about the few people who don't like your work. If they have legitimate criticisms, take it in and work to better yourself. But don't keep that voice in your head, because there are so many other people who want to hear your stories and who will find value in them. So don't worry so much about the few people who aren't going to like it, because I know that that's going to be hard to take, but there's many other people out there. So don't worry, it's okay if somebody doesn't like it. Be willing to change. I think that is super important. If something isn't working, change it. That is my kind of bonus tip. Just don't stay. If something just won't come together, move on. Do something else. If something doesn't feel right, try something else and be willing to edit or do whatever you need to do. Or if you're lucky enough to work with somebody and like an agent or a publishing house, and they tell you, you know, what if this title is better? Listen to them. Don't automatically say no. And you always reserve the right to say no later, but listen to people. Listen to people. Alright guys, well I hope that you enjoyed that. I am going to finish my tea. I hope that you have tea too. I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.